As amateur drone enthusiast Joseph soared his drone over the remote forest, he anticipated nothing more than capturing scenic views. But as the drone's camera panned across the landscape, it recorded something that was clearly not meant to be seen. Joseph's heart raced as he looked at the screen in his hands. Was he really seeing this? What on earth was that place? But before we start, if you enjoy this story, please subscribe and like the video for more amazing stories. And tell us if you think this story is true or not. He let his drone hover above it for a few minutes to get a couple of good shots. Then he lowered his drone slowly, trying to get as close as possible. But as his drone dropped lower, his screen suddenly began to blur until it eventually fully turned black. His drone had crashed out of the blue. He sighed as he sat down on the ground. How does a perfectly fine drone suddenly break down? Without thinking much more of it, he jumped in his Jeep. He roughly knew where he had to go, but he wasn't entirely sure. Joseph had to keep his eye on the road at all times. He maneuvered his Jeep from left to right, adrenaline pumping through his body. Finally, he began to see something in the distance. Thinking this was the spot he had been looking for, he pressed the gas pedal a little more. But as he broke through the tree line, he had to make an emergency stop, stepping on his brake at full force. This wasn't the place he had seen in the footage, this was the edge of a big ravine. Joseph took a big breath to try to get his heart rate down. He slowly began to back up his Jeep. Suddenly in the corner of his eye, he spotted a clearing. Joseph pressed on the brake again and made a U-turn. This has to be it, he confidently said to himself. It just has to be. As he stepped out of his Jeep and walked into the clearing, his eyes turned wide in amazement. But his amazement was quickly replaced by an eerie feeling. Never in a million years had he thought to stumble upon this in the middle of a remote forest. The strange stone formations he had seen through his drone were actually hundreds of deserted trucks. As Joseph slowly began to walk into the maze of trucks, looking for his drone, he began to wonder how these trucks had gotten there. Suddenly something caught Joseph's attention. As he walked along the trucks, he realized they were all locked with thick metal chains. There was something sealed away inside those trucks, and whoever put it there made sure no one would ever find it, or at least he tried. Suddenly Joseph spotted his drone. He quickly ran to it, picking it up from the ground. The camera was smashed, and it was full of scratches which saddened Joseph as he had only bought the drone 3 months ago. He looked around and realized it almost looked like a graveyard for trucks. Suddenly Joseph remembered he might have a bolt cutter in his Jeep to cut the chains. He had to get home and find those bolt cutters. He quickly drove home, searched for the bolt cutters, and put them in his Jeep. Tomorrow he would see what's hiding in those trucks. The next morning Joseph woke up feeling energized and ready to uncover whatever mystery was hidden inside those trucks. The Jeep rumbled along the forest path, its wheels crunching over the gravel. The sight of the truck graveyard unfurled before him, eerie and silent. Joseph stepped out, his hands gripping the bolt cutters firmly. He approached the nearest truck, its rusted exterior, a testament to years of neglect. With a firm grip, Joseph positioned the bolt cutters around the first chain. The first barrier was broken. There was no turning back now. Each truck Joseph opened revealed a hollow space, a void where something once resided. The interiors, however, told a different story. Such features suggested the cargo once stored here was not just valuable, but potentially dangerous. Joseph felt a surge of intrigue. In one of the trucks, Joseph's keen eyes caught an anomaly in the structure. He probed further and discovered a secret compartment cleverly concealed within the inner lining. Inside the compartment lay a stack of old, weathered documents. Joseph carefully unfolded them, revealing faded text and indecipherable markings. The documents were perplexing, weaving a web of secrecy that offered more questions than answers. Each page Joseph turned seemed to deepen the enigma, casting long shadows of intrigue and concealment. What could be so important, so dangerous that it warranted such secrecy? Abruptly, a sound broke the silence, propelling Joseph into action. His heart pounded as he dashed towards his Jeep. The documents clutched tightly. Adrenaline surged through him, each heartbeat echoing his rapid steps. The forest, once a place of discovery, had transformed into a labyrinth of fear. He moved swiftly, driven by the instinct to escape the unseen watcher lurking in the shadows, Racing through the thicket, Joseph felt the oppressive presence of danger at his back. The safety of his home stood in stark contrast to the foreboding wilderness he had fled. Inside his home, Joseph's racing heart began to calm, but his determination only grew stronger. Joseph turned to research. He scoured through old military records and declassified documents, searching for any link to Cold War-era activities. His eyes scanned page after page, seeking a connection to the trucks hidden in the forest. Determined to dig deeper, Joseph reached out to a retired military officer, a man rumored to have extensive knowledge of classified operations from the Cold War. He drafted his message carefully, aware of the sensitivities surrounding such inquiries. His hope was that this veteran might shed light on the truck's origins, perhaps providing a first-hand account of the secretive missions of that era. As Joseph prepared for the meeting, a mix of hope and caution filled him. Joseph sat across from the retired officer in a quiet cafe, aware he was about to bridge a gap in history. The officer, with his weathered face and thoughtful eyes, seemed like a living archive of the past. The officer spoke in hushed tones, his words carefully measured. He revealed snippets of a classified disposal operation, one shrouded in layers of secrecy and government directives. As the conversation continued, Joseph felt a chill. The truck's sinister use was confirmed, yet their specific role remained tantalizingly vague. In a moment of candor, the officer mentioned hazardous materials, a veiled reference that hinted at the grim nature of the truck's cargo. Joseph's mind raced, piecing together the clues. As the meeting concluded, Joseph stepped out into the daylight, carrying the weight of new insights. The knowledge he had gained was both enlightening and burdensome. As he walked among the silent trucks, his determination to uncover the full story grew. Each step took him deeper into the mystery, driven by an insatiable need to unearth the truth buried in this secluded forest. While exploring the area, Joseph stumbled upon an anomaly in the ground near the trucks. Brushing away layers of earth and foliage, he uncovered a buried container. Its presence a hidden chapter of the site's history. With effort, Joseph pried open the container. Inside, he found several barrels, each marked with ominous radioactive symbols. His heart skipped a beat, as the gravity of the discovery sunk in. These were not just any barrels, they were carriers of a dangerous legacy, a tangible reminder of a perilous past. This secluded spot, now a truck graveyard with its buried secrets, had once been an active disposal ground for dangerous materials. Back at home, Joseph grappled with a profound moral dilemma. To expose his findings would mean revealing a dark secret, potentially causing upheaval. Yet the truth, he felt, deserved to see the light. Determined, Joseph reached out to an environmental journalist known for uncovering hidden truths. He carefully drafted his message, outlining the magnitude of his discovery. In the ensuing days, Joseph prepared for the story to go public. He organized his evidence, ensuring every detail was accounted for. This was not just a story, it was a testimony to a hidden past. The story broke with the force of a tidal wave, sending shock waves across the nation. Headlines blared the hidden scandal, stirring public outcry and demanding answers. The government, caught off guard, scrambled to respond. Agencies were mobilized, statements issued, and promises of thorough investigations made. Joseph watched as his discovery shook the foundations of secrecy, bringing a long-buried truth into the glaring light of public scrutiny. In the wake of the exposé, official investigations into the covert operation were launched. Teams of experts descended on the truck graveyard, unearthing more evidence, piecing together the hidden history. Amidst the unfolding drama, Joseph took a moment to reflect on his journey. What had begun as a hobby, flying a drone over a forest, had transformed him into a key player in unveiling a major scandal. What do you think about this story? Thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to like and subscribe for more.